Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com. Congratulations, everybody. You've made it to the weekend. It's the Saturday edition of Today in Sports Betting. And, of course, Saturday around these parts usually means NASCAR, and today is no different. Joined by a couple of my favorites, as always, running in the right-hand chair. He is the one, the only. He is Scott Reichel. Scott, how are you today, sir?
Doing pretty well. Looking forward to some golf this afternoon. Of course, the highlight of everyone's day is going to be the very, very packed UFC card tonight, which is on pay-per-view. So, either going to be watching it or maybe you have some loopholes around it. Either or. I hope it should be a very entertaining card. And I'm looking forward to breaking down some NASCAR. That's going to be happening tomorrow.
You've been running a little hot lately, my friend, so we'll see if we can...
It's a little bit unsustainably hot, if I'm being honest. But we're going to see what happens.
It really is. And taking up third chair here today, you know him, you love him. He is our sniper on esports, UFC, and NASCAR. Of course, you're right down there in the cradle of NASCAR, Clarksdale, Mississippi. He is Willie Mormon. It is Winning Willie. I'm going to screw that up. Winning Willie, how are you, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Great to be back. I don't know about you guys, but this is of all the things I come on for, this is probably my favorite show. I just feel like all of us are pretty equally knowledgeable in NASCAR, and it's fun to talk NASCAR with you guys. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I agree. I have you guys on for UFC, and you guys are definitely light years ahead of me there. And when we have you on to talk about esports, Scott and I both sit there and try to remember some of those things to make bets because we know nothing about that stuff. So,
well, Scott, if it makes you feeling better, both of us are technically light years ahead of you in NASCAR also. So,
oh man,
I know, right?
Everybody,
I'll be here all week.
All good. Yes, he literally will be all week.
Literally will be here all week, except Sundays.
I keep telling you guys, it's a long season. It's a long season. I'm just finding my way.
At some point the season isn't long, right?
Yeah, but we ain't at that point yet, my friend.
That's fair. Okay.
When they're still running in October and this is barely July.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
You got to pace yourself there, big man. So, yeah, he's pretty cocky. Scott, can you remind us? You give us a little review of your last 3 weeks because I know you want to do it. So tell us how you finished.
Well, for the first Pocono race, I believe it was first, second, and
37th. Yeah,
37th. That's right.
We had the same picks. Jones let us down.
But I still 1 and 2, pretty good. Hit the exacta.
Right.
Then the second Pocono race, we both hit the try.
It's the trifecta. 1, 2, 3. Yep.
And then last week I went 1, 3, and 4.
Yeah, not too shabby at all. And
we're still in second place, so
yeah.
Working on it.
To Willie's credit, he's been hanging in there with this onslaught. Scott, you had an 8 last week with the 1, 3, and the 4, which is just 2 points better than the max effort, which would be 6. Willie acquitted himself very well with 19, so you did pick up 11 points on him, but he still holds that lead, 242 to 246. Just a 4-point differential going into this weekend's race. While I am a little bit behind at 309, but still well within striking distance.
You're waiting to pounce.
Waiting to pounce. Exactly right. Like the world's largest cat. That's exactly what I am. So I'm going to guess we're going to go a little bit different in these picks here. This is a tough track. It's not a track that's one of those venerable tracks that they've been, racing on since the late 50s, early 60s. This is a track that's relatively new, right up there with like Chicago and Kansas and Texas Motor Speedway. So they haven't got a lot of trips down there. I think they've run 9 times at the Kentucky Speedway. So let's talk a little bit about it as we always do. Let's get started with Willie. Oh man, sorry. I was able to abort the sneeze there. I thought that was coming on live TV. But anyway, Willie, tell us about this one. Who you got? We're gonna go with our 3 picks as we always do to start the show. Willie, what you're leading off? What do you got, buddy?
Well, let's kick things off down this rabbit hole again, shall we? I'm gonna go Kyle Busch at 5-1 DraftKings. I mean it. It's like we're beating a dead horse for real at this point that he's got to have some success. But I will say, if you look at the success of these drivers on this track, he's been probably one of the most successful. His average finish is 4.67. He's got 2 wins here. Never finished lower than 12th. Yeah, never finished lower than 12th here. This is a track that he's ran good on. He's also had pretty good success here in the Xfinity, and he's got to get something eventually.
Solid analysis. And yeah, there is when you look at the stats and you look at the past results for drivers, there is one driver that stands head and shoulders above everybody else. And I was wondering if anybody was going to get sucked into the Kyle Busch spider web this weekend. So we're off and running. Kyle Busch 5-1. Scott, tell us about your Kyle Busch pick.
Well, it's non-existent. So
okay.
I have a prop that technically applies to Kyle Busch winning the race, but I'll get into that later. But like Willie, I'm going to be beating a dead horse one more time, and I'm going to be taking Kevin Harvick at plus 700 on Fox Bet. Simply put, it's plus 500 or lower everywhere else. Fox Bet is plus 700. Not sure why, but they're just handing me an extra $2 of value, so I'm not going to say no to that. He's starting third, so he's got a very solid starting spot. He's won 2 of the last 3 races overall. He's finished top 2 in each of his last 3 races, and he has an average finish of 10.78 here. So, as you said before going in, when I was looking through all the drivers with the statistics overall, nobody really jumped off the page besides Kyle Busch, and I think Scott or I would rather jump in front of a train than back Kyle Busch. So, that was not an option. And Harvick has by far been the hottest driver lately. You can make the argument with him or Danny Hamlin, but Harvick's had the better results lately, mostly because Hamlin blew an engine at the end of last race. So for me, Harvick's going to be in the top 5 late. At least he should be. And he's a threat to win any race he's actually on the track because he's arguably the best racer left in the circuit. So for me, Harvick at 7-1 is a must play.
I think that's a solid play. I don't know about it, but 5-1, but picking up an extra $2 of value. It is hard to pass that up,
it's very chalky. But if you're getting $2 in a different place, it's not as chalky as it once was.
You made the point. Nobody's hotter than him right now. Nobody's driving better.
There's the thing about hotness, though. It's not even about recency bias, because that's like a Ryan Blaney argument where you can make the argument that they were very good for a couple weeks. Harvick's been the best driver all season long. So he's been hot indefinitely, and I'm just going to keep backing that.
Yeah, he was good. He was good before the break. He's been really good since the break. It's hard to pass on Harvick. And this is a track.
Are you also taking Harvick, or are you?
I'm not.
Okay.
This is a single groove track that, for the most part, track position means everything. I'm gonna go with the guy sitting on the pole.
Okay, taking a pole sitter. Did not see that coming.
Taking Kyle Busch.
Wow.
I know. I feel terrible about it because we have talked about him. We have made unmerciful fun of him. We have talked about how his season is done.
And yet you caved.
Terrible. I cannot ignore the fact, number one, that he's sitting on the pole, and I cannot ignore the fact that he has had much success at this track. I'm not even going to say he's due anymore. I'm just going to say Kyle Busch is a quality race car driver that's racing at one of his favorite tracks. Am I going to call it? Am I going to point to left field and say I'm going to hit the home run right over there? No, I'm just saying I cannot. In a vacuum, without knowing how he's been running, I wouldn't pass up on Kyle Busch, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give me Kyle Busch at 5-1, and let the derision begin.
Well, that's fair. I guess I'm the only one left standing who would rather jump in front of a train as opposed to backing Kyle Busch. But it was a good run. You gave it a good time.
Bad when you said that, man. I really did.
Yeah, it happens, man. I mean, I understand based on the previous results on why you should take Kyle Busch is because he's dominated this track. But I feel like with his performances this season, he has pretty good results basically everywhere.
Yeah.
And he hasn't really done anything. So for me, I feel like if you are backing Kyle Busch every week, you're basically losing money every week, or you have been. So I understand the move. I'm more confident backing Harvick in his current state than backing Busch, despite the disparity in terms of past results. That's just
I don't hate it. I ain't mad at you.
Well, you're talking about how position matters. Is there really anybody who's consistently leading laps more than Kevin Harvick? It seems like he's always in the top 3 every single race, and he's never out of the top 3, besides when he chooses to go to the pit. He's always there.
He's been
every race.
Consistent. There's no way you can ignore that. I totally agree. Willie, who's your second pick?
I'm going to look back into another driver that's had a lot of success here, and I'm going to take Brad Keselowski at 8-1 on DraftKings. He in the Xfinity Series, he's driven here 9 times, and he's never finished lower than 10th, and as well as he has 3 wins. And then you look at his Cup Series, he's ran here 9 times as well. He's had a couple of bad runs here, but he's finished top 10 in 6 of those 9 starts, and he has 3 wins here as well. He's had a lot of success on this track. This is his type of track. And he's another one I feel like he's kind of due for another one, even though he had a couple wins earlier in the year. But I feel like it's time for him to get another one.
All right, I gotta be honest with you. I looked at the Blue Deuce, and because he has had a tremendous amount of success. He's got two or three wins there.
He has 3.
But man, he's been cold lately at this track. He just hasn't run well as far as the Cup goes. Just one top 10 finish in his last 3 races. I get it. I think like I said, I looked at that pick long and hard, and I wouldn't be stunned if he was up there. But yeah, I had to just. And would you get him at, Willie? 6.5?
He
8-1.
What's that?
8-1.
8-1. Okay, very good. All right, Scotty, what's your second pick?
My second pick is Brad Kizlowski at 9-1 on Fox Bet. Simply put, I actually thought long and hard about this one as well. I was torn originally between Brad Keselowski and Martin Truex. That was originally the 2 that I was thinking of, that I was debating between. But that's going to tie into one of the props I'm giving out later. Even though Keselowski has only finished top 10 in one of his last 3 trips here, he's finished top 6 in 4 of his last 6 trips. So if you look at the 3 trips prior, he was also phenomenal. Finished top 6 every time. He's great here. Ford's been running really well lately. Even though Keselowski has been a little bit colder, I'd say, in comparison to the couple wins he had earlier in the year, he still finished top 11 in each of his last 3 races. So he hasn't been ice cold like Truex. That's kind of what scared me off of Truex in that one. But for me, Keselowski's won here 3 times. He's starting 6th. And you know that he has one of the best crew chiefs on the planet. So for me, I think he should be in the thick of it. It's really all I can ask for. And I think Keselowski is a very solid driver who can make the push late that you need somebody to make. So for that reason, I'll take Keselowski at 9-1.
All right, and I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with the guy that's led the most laps of anybody here over the last 3 races. He's led the 3rd most laps of any active driver. You mentioned you got it is Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, that was the 2 that I was debating.
Yeah, and I do worry about the fact that he hasn't been running well lately. I totally agree with that. But this is just a track that seems to match up well for his car and his team and his skill set. Plus 650, don't love that. I wish I had a little more value on there. What do you got? You got any a 9-1 floating around there at Fox Bet or anything, Scott?
I see 7-1, but I'll keep digging.
All right, well, I'll mark that at 7-1 for Martin Truex Jr. Yeah, that's the he's the guy he's got 2 wins in his last 3 appearances at this track as far as the Cup race goes, and I look for him to have a big day tomorrow, and Keselowski to fade late. That's what I need. What I really need is Keselowski to take a dip into the wall on about the 2nd lap.
If you want to have a comeback attempt, then I guess. But
nice 40th place finish for you guys. All right, so there's our lock.
By the way, just interrupt. I see Truex at 8.5-1 on FanDuel.
Oh, I was actually being facetious when I said 9-1, but I'll take it. All right, so we kind of got our favorites, our sure things out of the way, and now comes where we get to stretch out a little bit and kind of dig deep as we go for our long shot of the day. Willie, who's going to bring that big money home to Mississippi down there?
I'm looking in Richard Petty Motorsports in the 43, Darrell Wallace Jr., a.k.a. Bubba. He hadn't had a lot of success here in the Cup. He's driven here 3 times, and he's only finished 11th. But if you look in his Xfinity, he's ran here 4 times in the Xfinity, and he's never finished lower than 9th. This is one of his tracks that he likes, and he's at 150-1 on DraftKings. I just think that's a beautiful price for someone that's had success or moderate success here, at least in the past.
Well, if you're a fan of that price, you should probably stay seated because I found 300 to 1 on Fox Bet.
I love it.
Woo! Woo! And he has been running fairly consistently as far as in the top 10, top 12. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a serious breakout there. Yeah, I could see that. That's solid indeed. I'm going to put you down for Bubba Wallace. So you're going to go with Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Bubba Wallace. What did we say that 300?
300 to 1.
Man. All right. All right, Scott, and you've got you started with Harvick at what'd you get Harvick at? Sorry,
I got Harvick at 7 to 1 on Fox.
700. All right, and you took who's your second again?
My second pick was Kizlowski at 9 to 1.
That's right. You guys each had
on Fox Bet.
You guys each had Kizlowski. Okay.
Yeah, and my long shot here is not going to be 300 to 1. It's going to be 31 to 1, and that's on FanDuel. It's going to be Kurt Busch. And I know Kurt Busch has had, I'd say, mediocre results over the last month or so. Definitely not been, I'd say, an amazing driver so far this season, but he's been very good here. And as you know, I like to back people who have proven stuff on tracks before. Kurt Busch is starting 7th, solid starting position. He's plus 2,000 or lower everywhere else, and he's plus 3,100 on FanDuel. So they're just handing me $11 of value. I don't know how I'm not supposed to take that. He's finished top 6 in 3 of his last 4 races here. So he's actually been very good, which a lot of people don't know. He's been very, very solid if you want to look at his recent results at Kentucky. And if you want to also break it down, he has an average finish of 10.78 here, which is also very consistent, very solid. So for that reason, 31 to 1. Do I think he's going to win the race? No. But you finish top 6 in 3 of your last 4 trips, 31 to 1. I'm going to take that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice price on the number 1 car there. I'm going to go back to the well. I'm going to go with Mr. Jones, Mr. Eric Jones, the guy that's had some success at this track. 3 top 10s over his last 3 starts, 1 top 5. Just a guy that runs well at this track and has had some bad breaks this season. He's run pretty well. Has had some definite flashes in races where he certainly could have made a charge at the victory. I'm not saying he could have won, especially with Harvick and Hamlin as hot as they were. But Eric Jones has been running very well. This is a track that he gets along with extremely well. I'm going to go with Eric Jones. I've got him currently at 25 to 1. Scott, you got anything better than that?
Yeah, FanDuel is 35 to 1.
35 to 1. I will take Mr. Jones. Any thoughts on EJ, guys?
He ties into one of the props I'm going to be giving out in a little bit. So I think it makes sense. Truth be told, he's kind of an afterthought for the prop I was going to give, but if he wins, I'll win the prop. So spoiler alert. But yeah, he's been good here. He's been a lot better lately over the last couple of weeks after kind of falling off a cliff in the middle of the season. But as a whole, yeah, I mean, it's the long shot section. So if he's been good here historically and you think he can make a push for top 10 or even stay competitive, I'm not going to roast you for taking it 35 to 1.
There you go. All right, good enough. All right, so let's go to the prop section. Scott, you've always got a ton of interesting props. Kick us off.
All right. So the first prop I'm going to give out, I've alluded to it the entire race, is the entire race covered so far. It's going to be pretty much a hedge for the 3 that I gave out. It's going to be Joe Gibbs Racing to win at plus 160 on Fox Bet. Simply put, that was the main reason why I ended up giving out Kizlowski instead of Truex, because I wanted to cover my basis if Hamlin won, if Kyle Busch won, if Eric Jones won, or if did I say Truex yet?
No.
Or if Truex won.
Right.
So for that reason, I figured I might as well give out Kizlowski for a 1/4 of a unit, and I'm sorry for 1/4 of a unit, and I would just cover my bases with 1 unit on Joe Gibbs Racing to win. Gets you a couple more racers. You also get to hedge all your outright wins with any of the Joe Gibbs drivers winning. So for that reason, first prop mostly is a hedge, but I do love all 4 drivers that are included in that prop. Joe Gibbs to win at plus 160 on Fox Bet.
All right, that's a fine play. I looked at that one myself. That you do get a bevy of drivers that have had some success at this track. That could be a very, very fine play indeed. Willie, what is your first prop action today, sir?
I'm hedging also. I'm going to hedge my Bubba Wallace to win pick with a top 10 prop at plus 350. And, it's a lot of the reasons that I touched on. If you just look at his results this year at all the other tracks and compare them to his results there in the past, he's improving on most tracks. And he also finished in the range of 5th to 9th in all 4 of his races in the Xfinity. Plus, he's finished 11th here before, which it tells me that, he's due for a top 10 at the very least. And I think plus 350 is a great way to hedge.
All right, very solid. Yeah, this is a driver that has definitely been running very, very well. I'm top 15, probably in his last 5 or 6 races, with a couple of top 10, top 12s thrown in there. A little off topic. Let me ask you a question, Willie. I'll start with you. You think Bubba gets a better ride after this season, or do you think that he's going to have a little bit of loyalty there for Richard Petty in the way that they've responded to various things that are going on with Black Lives Matter and some of his concerns? Do you think he's going to repay that loyalty by staying another season or two, or do you think he looks for an upgrade, maybe going to RCR or even Newman Haas, something like that?
Well, I don't want to dive down that rabbit hole too much, but I feel like NASCAR they kind of use him in a sense, you know what I mean, to kind of drive and get ratings,
hey, we've got a black guy.
Basically, yeah, and it's
right.
I don't want to dive down that rabbit hole too much, but I do believe that I think he's going to stay with Richard Petty. They don't have terrible equipment there, and they are. It does seem like pumping most of the money into him.
Right.
So it's feasible for them to try and make him the future of the company. I think he's improving, and I think he's really learning something from Richard. One of the greats.
Good point. No one better than the old number 43. Scott, what do you think? Any thoughts on that one?
For me, in terms of Bubba Wallace, I'm a little bit lower in terms of my expectations for him week in, week out. I think anything in the top 20 is decent for him. I don't really expect him to finish top 10 or anything like that for most tracks. I know he's been good here historically, so we'll see what happens. In terms of NASCAR and how they've been treating him, I'm not surprised. NASCAR needs to find talking points, and they need to find ways for people to actually watch races. And if NASCAR marketed Danica Patrick, who's one of the worst drivers I've ever seen, I'm not surprised that they also are turning Bubba Wallace into a potential figure of the sport, despite his rather mediocre to lackluster results so far this season. So I'm not surprised by it. In terms of him staying at Richard Petty's organization, the truth is, I think loyalty is important, but I think it really depends on how much money Bubba Wallace wants to make. And if he thinks he can make more money at a better team and be a little bit more competitive, get a couple more top 10 finishes, I think he might leave. So I don't know what happens. I think loyalty is a very important commodity in business, but I also think in the terms of people's mindsets, people might overvalue how often people think of loyalty, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him jump ship if he gets a very good opportunity in the future.
Fair enough. Good take. And just to close this out, NASCAR, I guess, to a certain extent, has used him a little bit, but I think you have to be careful with the word use. I think they've just marketed him. I think they've had him a little front and center of their marketing because, let's face it, guys, NASCAR's ratings have been off.
That's what I've been saying. They did the same thing with Danica Patrick, and she was finishing 30th every race. It's just a matter of you got to find – I know it's not the same scenario, but it's kind of the same idea. NASCAR doesn't have any real – I don't want to say marketable figures, but they definitely don't have any, I'd say – faces or anything like that, at least for the mainstream people.
They got a whole lot of 30 to 35-year-old generic white guys.
Correct. So you try to think outside the box, and Danica Patrick was, of course, a female driver, and they chose to go down that route. And Bubba Wallace is black. And they decided, if we talk about him and if we market him, maybe we'll get better ratings. And I don't know how that's been working, so I can't attest to it.
Here's the difference for me. Danica Patrick was a good-looking woman who also happened to drive race cars. Bubba Wallace is a race car driver who happens to be black.
I'm talking about public perception.
I understand that, but I'm just saying I think Bubba has paid his dues. He's come.
Oh no, I'm not saying Bubba's clearly more talented and he's clearly the better driver than Danica Patrick. I'm just simply making the comparison that NASCAR seems to go above and beyond when it comes to trying to find potential faces of the sport.
Something different, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. They try to think outside the box to try to attract a newer audience, whether or not it's justified or not. That's all I'm saying.
Good enough. All right. So back to props. I'm going to start off with my first prop is going to be a matchup prop, and I'm going with I'm doubling down on Martin Truex one more time. I'm going to take him over Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott hasn't been running great lately. I'm going to pay a little bit of juice on this one at minus 125, but I like Truex to rule the day over Chase Elliott there in that my first matchup prop.
Okay. You want me to do my first matchup prop?
Yeah, go ahead and do your next prop, whatever you got.
Yep, I got Martin Truex Jr. over Chase Elliott at minus 110 on Fox Bet.
Oh, okay. Well,
so we got the same exact thing. You cut into that juice by about 15 cents.
I'll take it.
All the reasons you just said. Truex has been great here. In addition to that, Elliott, even though I do think he's a talented driver, he's been pretty, I don't want to say underwhelming, but he's been a little bit hit or miss lately. So even though he has been very good on these type of tracks so far this season, I think there's a better chance of him, I'd say, underperforming than Truex. I think Truex is, I don't want to say a lock to finish top 10, but it would surprise me if Truex did not finish top 10. I think there's a chance Elliott could potentially either get into a wreck or even finish, I don't know, 13th. So I think that for that reason, minus 110, I think this should be better than coin flip. I think minus 125 sounds right. So at minus 110, I am going to take that value to the bank with Truex.
Yeah, and Truex runs very well at these intermediate. I call them the new tracks: Vegas, Kansas, Texas, Chicago, Kentucky. The 1.5-mile tri-ovals. We got a little bit of banking, but not a ton. Truex is a good race car driver there, and this fits into that mold as well. Willie, you want to tell us why you have Truex over Blaney, or over Elliott, rather?
I actually don't, and that's just because, I'm with you guys, and I do think that Truex, this is one of his tracks that he likes, but he's just been driving so horribly this year for whatever reason.
That's true.
Even though, which is kind of scary from a guy that's seen so much success over the past couple of years, but it's enough just to. He's kind of like, it's weird because we're still diving down this Kyle Busch train, and he's been in the same bus as him. But yeah, no, I'm actually kind of looking towards a long shot for my second prop, and it's top Chevy Tyler Reddick at 18-1. It's his first Cup Series race here, but in the Xfinity, he's raced here 4 times. He's won once. He's got 2 top 5s, and he's never finished lower than 10th. And he's also been driving pretty well this year in the Cup. I can't pass up the 18-1 for a top Chevy with him.
Yeah, I actually took a look at Tyler Reddick. There's some good matchups with him as well. And, yeah, I'm just kind of curious to see how he does driving that car. That's a nice price on him at 18-1. Very, very solid. I like that. I like that pick. Scott, you a fan of that one?
For the value, yeah. In terms of taking it myself, I'm not going to do that because I'd like to see Reddick actually against higher level competition on this track before, instead of just relying on him in the Xfinity for numbers. But he's shown a lot of comfort in this track, on this track. So for that reason, I can understand the 18-1. I think that's a solid price.
All right, I'm going to for my second prop, going back with another matchup. Sorry guys, I'm going to go with Logano over Kizlowski.
Oh, you're back on Legano after he torched you for the last couple of weeks. Okay.
Well, I've kind of given lukewarm endorsement to him as I haven't taken him to win, but he does run well at this track. He's got 3 top 10s in his last 3 appearances there. I don't think he's a threat to win this race, but I think he is ultimately at the end of the day going to be outlast that 2 car. I like him over Keselowski at plus 105. Scott, you got a different price on that?
I honestly did not even look at it because at no point did I ever consider taking Logano over Kizlowski. So I don't know the answer to that. But
no worries. I'll take him at plus 105 and take my positive value there.
I can look into that and get back to you. But as of right now, let's just stick with the number you got.
I'll be anxiously awaiting the outcome. All right, Scott, what's your third prop?
So this is also going to be a matchup, and it's going to be a pretty funny one because I keep backing him for no apparent reason. It's going to be on Ryan Newman, and I'm taking him over Austin Dillon at plus 115 on Fox Bet. Simply put, Newman, the same price is the same line, or the same matchup. He's minus 115 on DraftKings. So I'm getting 30 cents of value just by switching books. He goes from a favorite or roughly even to a dog. And Dillon has been awful here. He's never finished better than 16th. And if you looked at his recent results, Dillon has been pretty bad. So for that reason, Newman's got some veteran experience. He's been on here before. He's definitely been a lot more consistent on this track than Austin Dillon has. And you're giving me plus 115. I'm going to take that. So my second prop is Newman over Dillon at plus 115 on Fox Bet.
Okay. All right.
Newman hasn't betrayed me in the matchups, though. I mean, I keep taking him over Kenseth and people. But so far, Newman's been pretty solid for me. I mean, it's going to be a battle for who can get 18th. But I don't know. I have more faith in Newman because Dillon's been really bad.
I think a lot of times there's more value in those down ballot matchups. I really do. Everybody's concentrating on the top 5. I think there's a lot of value at figuring out who's going to finish 15th and who's going to figure 18th. Mm-hmm. You can definitely pick up some good numbers there. Willie, what do you got for your third prop?
I actually strode away from the matchups this week. I've been looking for more value, and I like Eric Almirola at top 5 at 4-1 on DraftKings. He's finished in the top 5 each of the last 5 races, and it just seems like he's right there every race. So, I mean, why not back that at 4-1?
All righty. I got Almirola at plus 400 to finish top 5. He has been running well, and he's not a guy that's been a front runner that's been out there leading the race, but at the end of the day, he stays out of trouble. He keeps it clean. And lo and behold, you look up on your leaderboard, and once again, there's Eric Almirola. So, yeah, I don't hate that at all. Plus 400, Eric Almirola, top 5. All right, I'm going to steal a prop from Scott that Scott had last week, and I thought about this all week, and I like this. It's solid logic. I think there's good value there. I'm going to play the double prop with Ford and Toyota. Play Ford to win at plus 130. Toyota win at plus 160, and make no mistake, this is an absolute and total 100% fade of the Chevys. Haven't been running well, haven't been competitive as far as competing for a win. Until they show me differently, I'm gonna back the Blue Oval and Toyota, and it's one of those props where you're not going to make a ton of money, and you do stand to, have a little double dip loss there if Chevy does break through and win. But I'm going to just kind of nickel and dime this one into victory lane. Fade me the bow tie right there.
Well, just to be clear, I'm actually not playing that this week, but it's worked out. Simply put, I just think the markets have kind of adjusted to it. I think the line keeps climbing on Chevy just because of the fact that I can't even remember the last time Chevy's won a race.
Right.
I actually don't even know the last time they've won a race. It's been probably over a month. It's been a long time. So, yeah, makes sense to me. I think the only real threat from the Chevy perspective, I know I took Kurt Busch to win, but in reality, it's probably just Chase Elliott. That's kind of the same thing every week.
Yeah.
So I can't really criticize that play at all. I got 2 more props, but of course they're connected. And I feel like, Scott, you can probably guess where I'm going with this one. Think about the props I give out every single week and how they never change.
Well, you do take your manufacturing props. I don't know. What do you got? What am I missing?
It's the manufacturer props. I'm taking the top Fords. I'm going with Kevin Harvick top Ford at plus 160 on DraftKings, and I'm going with Kizlowski top Ford at plus 350 on DraftKings. Truth is, I was kind of hoping that maybe FanDuel put their lines up by now, but they did not. So I'm going to be sticking with the DraftKings lines here. I know it's kind of a risky move doubling down on 2 of the outrights I gave out. I know I'm also fading Logano, but in reality, I think that Harvick and Keselowski have a very good chance of finishing top 5. I think one of them should finish top 5. Logano probably going to do what he normally does. win maybe the first stage or second stage, then slowly move further and further back the longer the race goes on, probably finishes around 8th or 9th. Seems to be his MO. I think Harvick or Legano will finish top 5, and Blaney struggled lately. Doesn't really concern me that much. So for that reason, once again, top Ford Harvick plus 160, top Ford Kizlowski plus 350, both ones available on DraftKings.
All right. You say 350 for Kizlowski?
Yes.
All right. Yep.
The Fords have not failed me. I've stuck with that prop for the last month and a half, and it seems to work out almost every week.
Yeah, you've got one really good driver there that's been hotter than hell. So, and yeah, good price on Keselowski for sure. Willie, you got any more prop action?
No, I don't. I didn't really dive too deeply into this one as far as betting was concerned. It was just I like the tracks where we really have a lot of exposure to these guys and we can really see more. I will say that I don't hate that last 2 props of yours there, Scott. But I will also say that the only person that really scares me there is Eric Almirola, which and that's just because he's been right there top 5. And what if he randomly finishes 3rd and then you get like 4th or 5th? You know what I mean?
What's Almirola for top Ford?
11-1.
Let me check that one out.
11-1.
I'd assume probably lower. I'd have to guess just by assumption, probably around plus 750. He's 11-1. He's 11-1. Good guess. Yeah, he's 11-1. I would have guessed lower because of recent results, but it might just be because of the fact that track record wise he has not been good here. So I don't know. But for me, I trust Kizlowski and Harvick more than Almirola, despite Almirola's run of top 5 finishes.
Okay. Here's one I didn't give out, and I really thought long and hard about this, playing it for value. Taking in the best finish out of Group E, which is Di Benedetto, Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, and Ryan Newman. You can have Tyler Reddick at plus 230 and Ryan Newman at plus 250. I think that's a good play.
Taking half.
What's that?
You're doing the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire 50-50 deal?
Yeah, basically that's it, because I'm just basically eliminating Di Benedetto and Austin Dillon from the.
I know I mentioned that a couple weeks ago and that worked out. So you can really find some decent value on it because if one of the 2 wins, you basically make it at least a unit and change.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You cover your law. You're making like a third of the unit, and ultimate profit there. So yeah, you're making 1 plus a half, 1 plus 0.3, whatever. So yeah, that's again, I'm not going to make it an official play, but if somebody wanted to look at that, I think those are. I think there's some good value there. Two guys that don't do well at this track is Di Benedetto and Austin Dillon. So, Reddick making his first run as far as the Cup Series go, and Ryan Newman is a veteran. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. So.
Makes sense to me.
All right. Anybody else got anything else?
No, I'm done.
Okay. All right. Well then, let's go watch some golf, boys. And we got a little truck race there thrown in as well. By the way, bet Matt Crafton. That's my tip of the week on the truck bets. Willie, how long has it seemed like Matt Crafton been running? About 30 years now in trucks?
Oh, it seems like it. I have his autograph somewhere lying around.
Is that right? Was it done on a stone tablet, or did they actually?
It was actually back when they used to run in Memphis. They had they used to do I don't know what they call it, backstage passes, so to speak, where you get to go meet drivers. They sign stuff. They had I guess they're like programs, kind of, just a little kind of it's like a cardboard thing almost. It's one of those things.
Gotcha.
Put out, and they do some. I got a bunch of them. I know he's one of them.
Cool. Yeah, he's been running those truck races forever. Good truck driver, and we'll see how that all works out. That should be fun. Got golf, got NASCAR, got UFC tonight, got NASCAR tomorrow. A little golf final round. It's a full weekend, boys, and we're getting close to a little fuller weekends as baseball lumbers towards their opening day, and we'll see what happens. We're not. We're gonna go a day with COVID free, so I'm not bringing up anything about that. If you want to get our thoughts, make sure you check out yesterday's show on. We did a COVID update yesterday, so nothing but happy good thoughts here at Saturday, everybody. It is the weekend, and you got any big plans, Scott, that don't involve you watching sports on TV?
For the most part, no. I got the UFC. It is worth mentioning it is free Slurpee Day at 7-Eleven, so keep that in mind.
Put your mask on. Get yourself to 7-Eleven. Grab a Slurpee.
Mm-hmm.
Good times. If anything's worth the risk, it's grabbing a free Slurpee. Willie,
I mean, if you go to 7-Eleven, you could potentially pick up $1 scratch off with that. So see what happens.
you could even pay. Yeah, you could even pay for your trip. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Willie, any big plans? Any Slurpee or otherwise?
Not really. We were planning on maybe going out of town, doing a little shopping, go eat maybe today. But other than that, nothing major.
You have a 7-Eleven in Clarksdale?
No, I don't know that we have any.
What do you got?
Anywhere close.
You got a Come and Go. Got a Speedway.
A lot of sit-goes.
I'm trying to think of what else there is. Wawa?
A lot of sit-goes and shells.
Okay.
Oh, Casey's. You guys have Casey's up there?
No, we got kangaroos. A lot of double quicks.
Double quicks? Oh, that's not a thing. So
I don't know what that is.
Best gas station food you'll ever get.
Really?
That sounds completely unbiased. So I'll keep that in mind.
Challenge accepted.
Mm-hmm.
All right, excellent. Well, boys, have a good time, and let's make some money this weekend. I think we've got some good plays. We talked about it off screen. I think our golf's going down in flames, and it's shocking development to no one.
Our outrights are I already guaranteed profit for the weekend. So golf worked out. You know how hard it is to pick an outright in golf?
I know. Yeah, we talk about that. You're really just hoping to hit one or two a season. That's it.
If I hit my percentage in NASCAR for golf, I'd be a millionaire. I would have retired 3 years ago if I could predict winners at that clip.
He wouldn't still be doing YouTube videos. I promise you that.
Probably not.
But such is life. So,
yep.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining, Willie. Thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you lending your insights to NASCAR as always, man.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. It's fun talking NASCAR.
It is. It really is. It's good to see a sport. This is relatively normal. This is the one that I think is probably been changed the least. They don't have, the crews aren't quite as big. They don't have crowds, obviously, but crowds in NASCAR, not a huge factor once that race gets started. So
I think Kyle Busch should blame the absence of crowds for his results so far this season.
It could be. Mm-hmm. Scott, as always, thanks for stopping by, man.
Nope. Thanks for having me.
Okay. All right. And again, thanks to each and every one of you that make the effort to stop by and check out what we have to say. We always have a lot of fun doing them. And as always, if you've got any thoughts, got any picks for this race or for anything else, drop in the comment section. Let us know. Don't forget to check out winnersandwhiners.com, our sister site over there at statsalt.com for great information on all the events that are currently going on, regardless of the sport, esports, NASCAR, golf, soccer, soon to be baseball and hockey, NBA. We've got it all. Make sure you check out the previews as well over there. It is a chock full of information, winnersandwhiners.com and statsalt.com as well. So for myself, for Scott Reichel, for Winning Willie, for all of us here at Winners and Whiners, we appreciate you guys stopping by. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, everybody. And let's go make some money. We'll do it all again on Monday, all right? Until then, we'll see you next time, all right?